Today we review the book, The Four Agreements, that tells us a little more about how to improve ourselves. But we need to do agreements with ourselves and I guess not break it.
This is Success. Yes or yes. All about succeeding in life, career, and anything in between.
Welcome to Success, Yes or Yes. Once again, we're here with Brian Forsyth. Welcome back.
Hey, what's going on, Kuya? How's it going?
Great,
what's
excited.
Up, everybody?
Excited
what's up, everybody?
to hear.
What's up, everybody in Radio Land and YouTube Land? I hope you guys are hitting that subscribe button, liking it, definitely sharing it. This channel is all about helping people. It's not about how good looking Kuya is. It's not about how old I am. It's all about spreading the good news, right? And let's be honest, in this day and age that we got going on right now, I think we all use a little bit of goodness in our lives and in our, most importantly, in our brains, right? Our mental state. So hopefully this channel and this what we're going to share today can help you out and get you maybe seeing that while things may look dire, they may look horrible. You know, they have all these nightmares that we seem to be living right now. That maybe everything is going to be okay in the end, and this is just something that the world has to go through for now.
Definitely, what we listen to, what we watch, influences our state. And it influences our mind, therefore our output later on. So we want to be happy and watch happy stuff and be positive and all this, okay? So, guys, I'm so excited because Brian read this book. I haven't read it, so he's going to tell me and you all about it. And I will be your little conscience asking some questions here and there. Okay, so we have 4 agreements to be awesome and loyal to ourselves and more what?
All right, so this book is called The Four Agreements. It's all based in Toltec wisdom, and the Toltecs at one time they were thought to be one of the great civilizations of their time, and they were a huge repository of knowledge. And so this book, which if you get it, please get the one that's really pretty, because one doesn't really have like all the pretty graphics and stuff and all the pretty pictures. So definitely, this would be a book that you would get to put on like your coffee table, because it has some really pretty images, and so I highly recommend it. What
will be the output of us reading this book?
So the output of this book is
the main gift we're gonna get if someone after watching us decides that they have to read this book personally.
So this book is it's something that you're gonna read, and if you're able to make these 4 agreements and keep them, that you are able to break free of the nightmare that we all kind of seem to be living in, which is we're all different. We're all isolation. We're all isolated. The Toltecs, talk about that. This wisdom in particular talks about that we are all beings of light, and that the differences that we see and all the troubles that we see are we can't see the truth, because there's like this smoky mirror between everybody. And so by making and keeping these agreements, the first one being be impeccable with your word, then you are able to break free from this nightmare dream, and you can therefore see how everything actually is, that we all are beings of love, and that and we all started in the same source, and we are the same source.
Oh, so there's something like spiritual around this, yeah.
Yes, yeah. The whole core is that that we are all God, that everything we see is God, and that the reason why we don't see it that way is because we have grown up, and so we have.
So do you think that the teachings of this book require faith in God?
I don't think so, because if just talking about this idea of being impeccable with your word, which is your first agreement, there's a whole different, for one, it's really challenging because it's not just being impeccable with your word in speech, and that's one thing that's one thing to note is that being impeccable with your word literally means your speech. And it talks about how your speech and the words that you say and the words that you allow to impact you is like magic, right? So like it talks about how if you're walking down, you're at work or whatever, you're at school, and somebody's like, "Oh, you look sick." People look like you, they're gonna they have cancer. You might be getting cancer, and so if you accept that and you don't question that, and you don't refuse that hitting you, so to speak, then it sort of puts you into this spell. And so the speech is really something we have to watch out for. Basically, it goes back to this idea of what kind of inputs are we allowing? And most importantly, one of the things I talk about in the book, and sort of, you see this in all of the sort of self-help, which is, what are you allowing in your brain? And we started out with this idea that, in this culture right now, and, coronavirus and all these different things, we really have to pay a lot of attention to what, how we feel, our state. Are we allowing all of this stuff to get us down, or are we still hoping and pushing forward and maintaining a positivity? And so, in this Toltec wisdom, it's talking about being impeccable. It's really paying attention to what words you say, and are you using your word for good, and most importantly, are you letting people impact you, and negatively impact you? Are you around people
both ways? How you talk to people, how people talk to you, and you let that filter come in or not? Yeah.
Sure.
So like, talk love, speak with a good intention,
right,
to others and to yourself, I guess, because I think actually what we say to ourselves is one of the most powerful or dangerous weapons there.
Yeah, that's like that. I talk about that as the inner garden, and this idea that what kind of weeds are you allowing to grow in your brain? Do you hear a lot of you're a bad father, you're a bad husband, you're how could you say that, how could you do that, and so we tend to hear a lot of self-criticism in our brains, because it's kind of true. Our brains are different seers. They're different collectors. They're always trying to point out what's different. A lot of times what's different is it seems to be us. And so whatever we do, it seems like, our mind is right there to tell us that we didn't do it good enough. We didn't do it, the right way. We didn't say it the right way. And so if you allow your, that inner world, your inner world to become cluttered with all of this self-hate and self-derision and, all these types of things, and that grows in your brain, and, and it brings you down. And so just be really aware of what you allow growing up in there, growing up in your inner garden. Is it weeds or is it flowers?
Yeah, declutter.
Yeah, declutter your mind, and just don't. One of the things you can do, like I've said, is do a thought journal. Just get real clear for about 5 or 6 breaths. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out, and just get real centered and calm, and then just sit for 3 minutes or however long you want to do it, and write down every thought that comes through. And even the one that's like, I can't think of anything, whatever that is, right? Until your timer goes up. And then you can go back and you look at all your thoughts. And one, you want to see, like, what's the tone of those thoughts? Is there a lot of self-criticism? Is there a lot of regret? Is there a lot of, self-hate? Is there a lot of love? Are you really happy with different types of things? So then you look at all these different things and you sort of say, well, what's the overall tone? And then you do three things. You say, I want to affirm this thing that's, this thought, which is like, I'm a great father, so you affirm that. And then if you have one that's like, everything is my fault. Well, everything may not be your fault, but some things might be your fault. So you might pick that as one that you're going to restate. You're going to change some of the words around. And then if there's one that's like, you're the worst person that's ever lived on the face of this earth, then that might be one that you want to delete. And then so what you do is you take the ones that you're affirming and the ones that you're restating, and then you might use them to create, morning affirmations. And so you maybe do that for a week or however long. And if you can do this once a week, then you can kind of see where, what kind of garden you are growing. Are you growing a positive garden, or you're growing something that you want to actively manicure?
All right. So, okay, that's agreement number 1, the words. And then number 2, let's move. Number 2.
All right. Oh, hang on a second. My book. I'm sorry. I have an ebook, and all right, here we go.
Who's the author, by the way, since you have it there? Or this is from the ancient culture.
Yeah. So this is by. Okay. Hang on.
Yeah, someone based it in the ancient culture, but some modern writer wrote it. We'll search it. I'll search it. I promise. I'll publish it. Yeah. There.
So, all right. So the second agreement is don't take anything personally.
Oh, right. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but here's the thing, right? It's not, don't take anything personally what somebody says about you so much. Because that's easy, right? Like if you're feeling good about yourself that day and you're walking around and somebody's like, man, your shoes are ugly. You're like, whatever. Whatever. That's not, it doesn't even hit you, right? And because you're thinking to yourself, hey man, I look good. I shaved today. I showered for the first time in a couple of weeks. I mean, we're good, right? I mean, that's, I don't know about that, but anyway, so
oh
I know nothing about not showering for a week.
The government didn't say that's one of the measures. I think it's still allowed.
Yeah, you can you don't have to shower. You can go like a month. Conserve water, right? The earth.
You know what I do to save water? I have a shower downstairs in the swimming pool area. Oh no, I'm so miserable. Oh well.
Oh my.
Every penny counts. Every penny counts. There.
You just bring some soap to the public pool, right? You don't even need a shower.
All right. But, so don't take anything personally. I don't quite totally get it. No, it's like, so anything people say, it's in their mind. It doesn't have to be the truth. Could we say that?
So the funny thing about this, and the thing that makes it hard, is don't take anything personally, right? So it's not, if somebody says something about you, don't take it personally when it's bad, right? Like if somebody's like, oh, your shoes are crappy, or your hair looks horrible. Well, don't take that personally, right? That's kind of easy because you're like, well, my hair looks great, whatever. But the hard thing is don't take anything personally. And that means good. That means if somebody's like, boy, you look great today, or you look, awesome today, or you smell nice, or whatever, like, it's all about, like, really paying attention to what's actually happening. Because the truth is, according to Toltec wisdom, is yes, I do look good, because I'm literally a being of light. And everything is okay. And everything that doesn't appear to be okay is a part of the nightmare dream that we're all living in. So that's the key. Remembering to not take anything personally, both good or bad, because all of it that is negative, quote unquote, and good, quote unquote, is part of the dream. So the trick is to never take any of it personally. Somebody says something good about you, it's not that you're going to be like, no, it's not. It's not like you're going to, start an argument over the fact that you're hot, because I'm hot, right? I mean,
I won't discuss with that.
Look at this. Look, I'm a lumberjack today, by God. I'm wearing my checkerboard. But so it's not about starting an argument with somebody who says something nice to you. It's about realizing that they too are in a dream. And
they're in their own world, in their own bubble, which doesn't have to be the reality. At the end, the reality is just, I have a reality, you have a reality. Even if we see the same piece of paper, we see it from different angles and different tones, probably. I don't see what you see with your eyes. And yeah, I get that. And then I was thinking of another use now that everyone's so hot about politics online. Don't take it personally as well. Yeah. Even people feel you talk about politics or their religion, and they're gonna punch you in the face the next thing, or they're gonna unfriend you on Facebook or something. So
I gotta admit, United States politics. I have to step back sometimes. I don't get in those kind of altercations or anything, but I do have some strong beliefs about U.S. politics right now.
But all over the world, it's
all over the world.
I'm in the Philippines. It's the same story. People are fighting. Some criticize the president. Whoever the president is, be it Trump, be it President Duterte here in the Philippines, or the Chinese president, or what. It's so hard to be the leader. Everyone's criticizing you. Whatever you do, there's always going to be someone criticizing you. How can those people not take it personal? They really have to have a strong belief not to take it personal, because if not, they would be suiciding every other night, So I admire them, and I wouldn't want to be in their position, because it's whatever they're going to do, it's not going to be appreciated enough. It's so hard. So
it's talking about not taking anything personally. If you're the leader of, 380 million or so, in the U.S., I'm sure it can be a challenge for sure.
Imagine. Okay, third agreement.
So the third agreement is don't make assumptions.
All right.
And if you notice, like all of these things have to do with, when you look at like the self-help, canon, right? All the different books sort of taken together is like what they might call a canon. CANON. They all kind of say a lot of the same things, and this is one of those things that sort of points to one of the main threads, which is essentially try to watch versus be. Try to hold yourself to where you can pay attention to what's coming in and what you're allowing in, and also what you're putting out, right? So don't make assumptions is, if somebody says something that, don't allow yourself to automatically assume, one, that because, in so many different ways, our mind tricks us into believing that we know something and that we are so sure about something, right? But when we really break it down, in many instances, we don't actually know near as much as our mind tells us that we do. We have a lot of things that we sort of built this logic tower on that we call life understanding. But a lot of times when you start looking at the things that you think you know, we tend to realize quickly that we don't know near as much as we did, that we may know like some half-truths that, like there are instances where I've been saying the same thing, telling somebody the same, what I would say, truth for the last 15 years. And then, I Google it one day and I'm like, oh, that's not what that word means at all, or that's not, whatever. So the key is, with all of these different agreements, is to be able to move through life and, watch versus be, and sort of pay attention to what you're allowing your mind to tell you is true versus what you've actually paid attention to, and through real experience.
Try to be more objective. Yeah, we could say that. Yeah, don't believe you have the universal truth in you. Yeah, give some space for a doubt, because many times even the greatest scientists they correct themselves. Yeah, they discover that this was the truth for the last 500 years, but guess what? Starting today, it's not the truth anymore. Yeah, so nothing is really nothing is unmovable there. So it can change. Things can change and beliefs can change. And guess what? You can change. Yeah.
So
I like this because it's don't make assumptions. It's bringing me to a place because people say to themselves, and that's connecting with the words and everything. People say to themselves, "I'm not smart enough. I'm fat. I'm ugly. I'm poor." So
you're not ugly, Kuya. You're hot. Oh,
I'm hot.
I said that out loud. I'm sorry.
And everyone.
I said that out loud.
Yes.
Sorry. Sorry, everybody.
Don't be sorry. It's the truth. Okay, there. That's what my followers think. All right. So there. What we say to ourselves, what we take as truth when we're growing and everything, and because we heard it from our parents or whatever, we're assuming that's the truth. And guess what? Many times it's not. It's just a projection of another person. It's the words, like we said in the point number 1, of another person. Yeah. And we took it personally, like we say in the second point. Yeah. And we made it our truth. And guess what? It wasn't our truth. And that ruined our life. But thanks to this, you can question and start questioning. And maybe, hopefully, and that's the purpose of one of the purposes of doing this, is to awaken the giant within.
There you go.
Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins. It all comes back to Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
Tony Robbins and Napoleon Hill.
Yeah.
So the fourth agreement is always do your best.
Okay.
Always do your best.
Easier said than done. Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, because it's always do your best. So it's like whatever you're doing, do it as if, like, it's one of my friends used to tell me, if you're curious what it means to do your best, just do it like you're getting paid $1 million.
There you go.
So that means that when you're washing your hands, you're doing your best, because I don't know if you've ever read this is the book that we're going to talk about next week. It's going to blow y'all's minds, if you've never read it, but it's called The Power of Now. And that book is off the hook. But so in The Power of Now, he talks about this, that every moment is both the end and eternity, right? Because now is all you ever have, and the decisions and the way that you act and interact and think and feel in this moment right now, to a great extent defines your going forward, because there is no actual past. Like, that's one of the things when you start, one of the cool things about science is that science clearly says that your memory is nowhere near what you think it is. Memory is not some like VHS tape, or it's like, coded on a CD or whatever. Memory is literally more like painting in the sand. And every time you call up a memory and then you think about another thing, when you go to think about that other thing, that memory that you had just called up, you actually relived it. Like, your brain, to a great extent, like if you think about something that was pleasurable, like having a good time with your girl, then your brain reacts in that exact same way. And so when you then think about something else, that image, that whole scene of you with your girlfriend is now re-encoded. And so every time you remember something, it's re-encoded. And what that means is that if you have like a really bad thing, it's like something that you have like intrusive thoughts over, or something like that, where you would really like to get over something that's still causing you pain, then that means that you can. And then in talking about what Tony Robbins talks about, I got this from Awaken the Giant Within and his concepts with NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming. But you can take this really negative problem, event that you've had, and, close your eyes, get comfortable, get calm, and play this image back. And if it's, something that's really bad, then, it may be a challenge. You may have to work up to this. But the idea is that you can play an image back and then change different aspects of it, right? So if somebody was yelling at you, then you turn down the volume. And then if you're, then you turn it way back up until it's so loud you can't hardly stand it. And then you turn it back down. Then you put like a clown in it, or you change how light it is and you make it like super dark. And so by fiddling with all these different things and putting in all these things that sort of, weren't there at the time, then you put a clown in it. And now when your brain re-encodes it, some of that pain, some of that intensity gets leached out of the event, and then it gets re-encoded. So every time you bring that image up, if it's some, life-defining problem thing that happened to you, then you can literally, slowly but surely change and turn that event into something that's innocuous. And your brain, all that energy that's connected to it will have been released. Because as you add things to it, that's the other thing that happens when you remember something and then unremember it, right? So you're thinking about something and then you move on to like grass, right? You start thinking about grass. When it gets re-encoded, a lot of times it doesn't get put in the same spot where it was.
Like a computer.
So, yeah, it's not like everybody kind of thinks about, well, my memory is like it's infallible. I don't ever forget anything. But the truth is like whenever you're trying to study or something like that, if you don't have the right conditions, if your brain isn't in the right state, then you're studying. You could spend all that time studying, but if your brain isn't in the right state, then that all that studying that you do can get put somewhere else, and you will have wasted all of your, a lot of your time doing that. That's why it's so important when you study to have specific places you go to, specific sounds that you go to. Please, for the love of God, don't watch TV, don't listen to music. If you do listen to music, listen to the same music that like one song just on repeat.
Yeah, my trick, I put this ADHD by neural sounds.
Yeah.
It's like a white noise and the zzz, or sometimes it's a little instrumentation but very light, but there's some technology to it, and it does kind of put me in the zone. I just worked for 1 hour and a half. I was amazed. I haven't done that in the longest of time.
Yeah,
I get lost.
That's the magic.
Yeah.
So, and there's this website that I use a lot. It's called noise.net, NOISE.net. And that site, it has binaurals, it has isochronics, I think is the name of it, but neuromodulators. I mean, it's just insane. You can do layering and all this different stuff. But
is it free? Is it free?
Yeah, it's free, but if you give the guy like $1, then he opens up the whole, it's like over 150 different soundscapes. And so I gave him like $5 like 10 years ago, and I still, use the site.
Amazing. Yes.
But you can layer, you can have 5 different sounds layered one on top of the other. It's pretty insane. It's really worth the money. But anyway, so I got off track there. But just the important thing is if you're not in the right brain state, then when you memorize something, you will have not done as well as you could. So please, for the love of God, no watching TV. Put on some headphones, whatever it is, listen to, what Kuya was talking about, white noise. White noise is really, really good because your brain doesn't have a chance to grab onto anything, because as soon as your brain grabs onto something, like a little text from your phone or, something somebody calls you, it takes you 10 minutes without any kind of, brain state programming, like, using binaurals or something like that.
Yeah, to get back to the same zone. Yeah, the mental state. Yeah. Yep, Tell me about that. ADHD here. Oh my gosh. But
Kuya,
working on it. Yeah.
You're doing fantastic though.
I don't know.
Your life is a freaking
messy.
A lot of success in your life there, Kuya.
I don't know if I'm gonna survive the coronavirus. financial crisis. I'm not talking about the health question mark, but the financial health. I don't know. This is being talking making a parenthesis, of oh my gosh, this is painful. My coffee shop is closed. My three Uber cars are parked. There's no income coming in. My theater gigs are canceled because everyone's scared of going. Not even scared. We're not allowed by the government to go out of the house. So it's scary, and we don't know. So I'm what can I do? I do online job applications to teach language, to correct, to do voiceovers and things like that. So figuring out the new economy in times of the coronavirus. Maybe we could do a podcast about that some other time. Okay, so I have the 4 agreements here from the Toltec wisdom. 1, be impeccable with your words. 2, don't take anything personally. Good. 3, don't make assumptions. Watch BSB. And 4, always do your best. And I wrote here, like they're paying you $1 million. Oh my gosh, that's a strong image that I get in my head right now. If I really thought they were paying me $1 million each time I do exercise, or I perform, or I'm getting ready for what, how much it would change my output. I'll have that on mind, and I'll give you feedback. I'll try to remember it. What it can be. I'm pre-guessing if it would be very exhausting. Those are just words I'm putting out there. Maybe I shouldn't say that. No, but if I'm always trying to perform at $1 million, I don't know. Well, but I guess Beyonce does that, and Michael Jackson did that, or whoever. It's the big ones are performing for more than $1 million each time they perform, right? So I guess they have to be thinking they're performing for $10 million or whatever. Oof. Pressure, but pressure is good. Yeah,
it's I don't and if $1 million doesn't work for you, then imagine that you're just be like completely absorbed. Like the thing that I did when I started working with the Power of Now was I would get really, really, really intentional with washing my hands. And just because washing your hands is so easy.
Very adequate for the times we're living in, actually.
Yeah, right. So this is how you, and then the little thing, So quick public service announcement there. But but it's really easy to be intentional with washing your hands, because that's one of the things that you're never intentional about, right? Like you always, you're watching your show, you're gonna get up, you're gonna go to the bathroom, you're gonna, wash your hands real quick because you want to get back, right? But the Power of Now indicates that every moment is just as important. All the decisions that you make and all of the life, this moment, what decision are you making out of this in this moment? Are you rushing through this moment to get to another moment that doesn't even actually exist? This is the moment, right? So it was really easy to be intentional with washing my hands and just really paying attention to this one thing that is so, never, like right now I'm doing 20-second washes. Like I'm like all over it. But, 5 years ago when I was doing the Power of Now, that was just outside the realm of something that you would think about doing. But it allows you to really just to see when you're being intentional, when you're being attentive versus when you're just sort of rushing through life.
Yeah. So definitely our next episode will be The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. It's a must now. We mentioned him too much. We mentioned the book too much. So I guess. Did we
figure out who wrote the 4 agreements? It's weird if you go on iBooks and that's where I have my my books.
I'll post it. I'll definitely post it in the description and the title. So we'll go for that.
It's very weird. Anyway, it's really an amazing book. Highly recommended.
So good.
And, it's just doesn't. That's just crazy. Like ebooks, you know, that the iBooks or whatever, it doesn't really.
Yeah, it's hard to put it sideways to see the author in the side way of the book, in the side, no? All right. So well, subscribe, guys. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Share it. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook and Twitter as Success Yes or Yes. This is a growing platform, and we're doing it all for you. All right. So if you have any comments, any takeaways, we will be very happy to hear about it. And if you share this with someone who can benefit from it, you're doing that person a favor and us a favor as well. So thank you so much.
Yeah, so I just want to do a quick plug for my Facebook group. It's called Being Depressionable, Your Guide to Living Life Out Loud and Free as Hell. So that's kind of my that's my group where I try to help people live undepressionable. And we do that through routines, we do that through mindset. Basically the same stuff we talk about, success, yes or yes. On this channel, it's just, how many different ways can we get out the information that, hopefully people can use to really, live their life as successful and as big as they actually, can be.
Yep. And everyone can do it. I'm part of that group. It's very useful. We'll also publish the link. All right, guys. Thank you so much, Brian. Till next one.
Hey man, it's been awesome, Kuya. I sure appreciate it. I wish you all the best. I know you're gonna. This is just a bump in the road, man. You're far too resourceful not to be able to navigate this.
We'll figure it out. Yeah. All right. Thank you. See ya. Bye.
Peace.